And you can honestly, if you are honest today, you will tell me, yes, I have been wrong in some of my beliefs, and God has straightened me out. Our beliefs are taught in this world, so some of them are going to be wrong. That's the world. The world is wrong. And we're going to get it right through God. Now he goes on, and listen to this. Now I want to get where we need to get. He said in verse 25, he said, listen, not only in verse 24 did he declare, verse 23, he says, listen, all these things you've been worshiping, they got to go. They plain out got to go. If you're going to know God truly, if you're going to have a relationship with God truly, these things, these false gods that you've been worshiping have got to go. You take it, I'll give you just a few just to get you in the right direction. TV stars, we make TV stars. He says right here, they're made with our hands. We make up who's a TV star. We make up who are musicians that are stars, that we stand out in lines for hours and hours and hours. We make up sports. We created sports. God didn't create football. I'm sorry, but He did. We create these things to entertain us, and then we idol who is good at it. Those things are, let me preach to the choir, because most people don't like it. They're wrong. When you stand out hours and hours and hours and hours to see a glimpse of somebody, and then you get mad because church went over 15 minutes, you got a problem. When you're willing to go to a sports event, now I'm not saying sports are totally wrong. What we do with sports are wrong. When you go to a sports event and you lose your whole self, going, go that touchdown, go! But then go to church and are not willing to say amen. That ain't right. I've seen a man that is so quiet and so reserved that you couldn't get a rise out of him for nothing. But then I seen him go to a college game and I thought he was going to string my head off. I was like, man, listen to this. I've done it. I have. Man, my mama can tell you, and this is a terrible confession I got to make. But when I was growing up, 10, 12 years old, I loved Michael Jackson. But this is before he was crazy. And I was from Century. And man, he was an idol to me. And I remember getting a magazine and tearing them pieces out of the magazine and put them on the wall. And it's when he caught his hair on fire when he was doing the Pepsi commercial. But I tried to do those moves, you know. Now, I didn't look the same, but I tried, you know, because he was my idol. And not only then, but still, I mean, I had found myself just, man, that movie star, he's cool. You know, I'm saying we have to continually watch this. This is not something we just grow up and say, okay, I'm no longer a child and I'm mature now and I don't have to worry about that. I still today find myself, hey man, I put too much in this. When I could be spending more time with the one that created me, the one that loves me, the one that, because I hate to tell you today, when the actors and the sports figures say, you know, I just want to say I love all my fans, they don't even know you. They don't care about you. They really don't. But God does. And when God says, I know you, He knows you. And when all the things go wrong in the world, it's going to be God there. You know, with the millions and millions of dollars that people have, they're not going to give you a cent. But God gave us Jesus. You get mad at me, you're not going to be able to hear God. I'm telling you, just because I jump around and I just do my things the way God tells me to do them, the way I feel. And if you get mad, God's not going to talk to you. You're going to lose a very valuable lesson there. But man, I still, today, having to wake myself up from. You know, I got into turkey hunting real big not long ago because I went to, Mark took me turkey hunting, never been. And I came to that. And you know, when I was up there, I shot 3 turkeys at one time. I never even shot at a turkey. and I killed 3 turkeys. Well, I automatically became addicted to turkey hunting. And I come back and I started buying these movies of turkey hunters. And then I found this one I really liked, you know. And I started really I spent too much time doing that. And God pulls you back. But the whole point is we got to be willing for God to tell us, hey man, that ain't right. The way you're doing things, your way, is not right. Ever how you got it, I don't care how you got it. It's still wrong. He goes on here. There's 2 points, and I'm going to leave you alone, and I'm going to really rush through them. Verse 27 says that they should seek the Lord if happily they might feel. Man, you ain't going to get it if you ain't happy. If you're not happily serving the Lord, it ain't going to make sense to you. It's going to be a job rather than an enjoyment. But he says, man, if you're feeling after Him, if you're searching for Him, we stopped today. My wife stopped everything in the house today, even me, and said, let's sing. This is the day. And man, you don't want to start out, you know, and Emily's doing this, you know, because we had lost the attitude we should have about getting ready to go to church. And you know, we were pouting. I mean, even me, I was like, man, I am tired. Let me lay down just 5 more minutes. And then, because she wasn't going to take no, so you might as well just sing the thing and get through it so she'd hush. But after you start thinking about the words, this is the day, this is the day, this is the day that the Lord has made, that the Lord has made. You understand that? As the Spirit begins, you got to get off that drugs. You got to get off those bad feelings. You're not going to get it. I thank God that I didn't come to church today without that song, that little bitty song. Changed all my kids' attitude, and it all because I was willing, they were willing to listen to my wife. And I believe my wife got that song through her spirit from God. You understand how it works? We got to do it because we want to do it. The last verse is verse 29. He says, for as much then as we are His offspring, we're not His offspring, we're His creation. He goes on into it, we ought not to think that God is like gold or silver. Going in the next verse, it says in verse 30, it says, in times of this ignorance of God winked at. And I got to point out, this is very important. God winked at. You understand what that means? I wrestled with that for a while. But, wink's communication. It really is. Instead of saying it, instead of stopping and listen, take care of this, I'll wink at you and we'll go on. You understand? That's what God was doing. All this time, God's been winking at us. All this time that we've been doing these things wrong, God's winking at us and saying, I'm going to give you another chance. I'm not going to just put the full on. I'm going to wink at you. Okay, you're all right. How many times has God winked at us? And that's the point. God tells these people, I'm only going to wink at you so many times. Because, if you finish out verse 31, he says, because He hath appointed a day. That day's already set. I hate to tell you, but your day to die is not necessarily going to be in your time frame. Yeah, I like to be 80 years old, sitting on the porch, and everything be fine, and then I just fall asleep. But my way is not necessarily the day that I may die today. God has set that day that He's going to see us again. God has set that day that we're going to stand before Him. What matters is, has God winked at you the last time before that day? You understand? He's also set a day where He's going to send His Son to end all time here. Now that day may be today. And God gives us so many chances. In other words, He knows exactly what's going on, and that's why He winks, and that's why He makes mention of that. He knows we're not getting by. Just because we call Him unknown doesn't mean that we're unknown or what we're doing is unknown. In other words, every time He's winked means He's noticed it and let it go. Now he sent Paul, and this Paul is one of those last warnings. He said, in other words, when Paul began to preach and reach, he said, God's winked at you all he's going to do now. Understand? He's ignored it, all he's going to ignore it. He's let it go on, all he's going to let it go on. So God today is not going to wink no more at us. Because he sent the message to us. He's brought it before us that not only we can see and hear it, but we can read it. It's here. God's let it, whatever we've done or whatever we're doing wrong in our relationship with God, go on as long as it's going to go on. I believe today that He's given us this message because He has such a big mission for us to do. And it's here. It's upon us. And it's time to get into it and really do it and do it happily. But we can't do it and do it successfully until God, or we know God. And we've allowed God to deal with us personally. When God deals with us personally, we hand over to Him, then we can do what God has set us forth to do. Amen. Everybody rise forward.